Now we're turning into the MENA region, and we're going to look at one of the world's most compelling growth stories that is unfolding right now, at this very moment. We are in the midst of it. Just over a decade ago, if you look here at the region, belief totally outweighed capital. But today, the MENA region is on the map. We are home to region-born unicorns, global IPOs, venture funds that are attracting the world's attention, all here. And now we're diving into the heartbeat of the MENA region, driven by resilience, ambition, and a hunger to evolve. And to lead the next conversation, we have Prashant K. Gulati, or PK, that's very easy to remember, the founder of the Assembly and member of the advisory board of the MENA FinTech Association with us. And with him are two visionaries, two founders, two outstanding examples in the startup ecosystem. We've got the founder of Aramex, Fadi Ghandour with us. The first Arab company is Aramex, who has been listed on the Nasdaq, and now he is executive chairman of Wamda. And Wamda has backed over 100 startups, shaping the regional tech infrastructure from logistics all the way to edtech. And we've got Dany Farha, the co-founder of Beco Capital, one of the region's most successful early-stage funds. And they were early investors in Karim, Kitopi, and many others, with a portfolio that has raised over $2 billion in follow-on capital. So please give a warm welcome to PK, Fadi Ghandour, and Dany Farha. Welcome. Great to have you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good afternoon.
Well. Mexican wave.
Fadi, Dany, great to have you here. Like, we feel old when we come and sit like this many years from. No?
Maybe you, not me.
Oh, I feel very old when I see this. But it looks like too many years, correct?
Yes, indeed.
In fact, when we started, we didn't call it the ecosystem, correct? We didn't even know what ecosystem was when we started, correct? So many years ago, when I came here, I used to be told about the entrepreneurial story of Aramex. So Aramex was the great entrepreneurial story. Somebody who started in Jordan and took his company public was exactly something which dreams were made of.
You took a question that I had for the audience, actually, just to make sure that they're still awake. Okay. What was the first tech company started out of the region, for the region, with global operations? Aramex, there we go. This gentleman right here.
Thank you.
That's the context.
If you know that,
we
can go now.
We
can go.
Whoever answered is as old as us. That's for sure. So Fadi, they asked me to talk about what the ecosystem has been doing and all that. I want to talk about just a bit about what happened, but talk about what we feel about the future of the ecosystem. Now, I believe over the years, we seem to have an ecosystem which has most of its parts working, or at least we have at least some business models to talk about. So why don't we start on something that you feel positive about? Of course, building on the past, but what's the future?
Yeah, well, we talk about the ecosystem. We used to talk about what does it take to build an ecosystem. We don't have to say that anymore because the ecosystem is here. It's evolving, it's continuing. There's a lot of new things happening to it. I mean, look at it. This is the ecosystem. I mean, you don't need to explain ecosystems anymore. So there were, 4 or 5 things that matter in ecosystems. Capital, talent, infrastructure, regulatory environment, and then eventually VCs and the government that wants to engage and help out and be part of that ecosystem. I think to various degrees, everything of these elements is happening. It's here, some earlier than others, some later than others. And one thing that might be missing, and we can talk about it, is how can we open up much easier and in a much better way for companies to operate across borders here, so that we are able to scale much faster and realize the potential of these companies without any bottlenecks and regulatory challenges. But the ecosystem is here, is evolving, and it's looking fantastic.
Dany, I just heard about the big fundraise that you did, which was a number which probably a few years ago we could only dream about. So the fun pillar that Fadi also mentioned, capital, which was something we all used to cry and crib about as much, seems to be getting far better. And since you've just raised one, maybe that is the time to tell people about what it is and what you see in the future.
So when you see the announcement, it makes it look so easy. I promise you, that is probably 3 years from the get-go of us saying, okay, let's plan a fundraise. And then it's 2 to 2.5 years of extremely hard work. And I promise you, there were many days where I'd wake up in the morning. And by the way, this is a theme like over the last 12 years that I've been in this ecosystem. You wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you brush your teeth, and you're like, why am I doing this? It shouldn't be this difficult. But I think, you catch the bug from amazing people like Fadi, who are missionaries, right? The guy's been screaming and shouting with logic and data, but a lot of passion, and it's very infectious. And so it makes people like us who care deeply about the region wake up in the morning and think, no, there is a reason why we're doing this beyond just the financial objective. So behind the press release, there's a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and it's not easy to fundraise, especially the last couple of years. I think it's going to get easier over time, especially as the region becomes a lot more exciting. As you said, it's no longer do we have an ecosystem. We have an ecosystem. It's actually now a question of do we have the bandwidth? And what exactly are we going to invest in to make the future even more exciting?
And nothing is easy, huh? I mean,
I had to feed.
It's never gonna be easy.
Correct.
So there's always going to be challenges, and that's why we keep at it. We keep at it. It's
I had to feed his pictures to my LLM because for 3 years we didn't see him literally.
Under the hood.
You were camping somewhere
away.
else. I don't know, but we had to feed him to actually recognize him back again. So undoubtedly, it's always been hard. We are talking about it because we are now talking about a successful end of a cycle that we can see today. But we all have gone through far harder times and thinking in that say, without a question. The other thing which I see as a positive, and again, I want your views on this, is UAE and Dubai have changed the model of how entrepreneurship is done. We are
Change the model of?
How entrepreneurship is being done now, global. If you look at it from that point of view, the talent, for example, attraction, being able to call people to come to Dubai. If you want somebody to come and work in Dubai, you don't have to convince him about Dubai anymore. People come on their own. They're ready to come and look at it. So I think that is also a very massive change that has happened in this.
PK, the beauty about this city, is they listen. They observe, they listen, and they go out and do. Dany and I and yourself have been part of this conversation for the past, 15, 16 years. We've been evangelizing, we've been talking, and we engage. The people that are responsible for this place do. They're action-oriented. They're not, they don't delay. They say, yeah, we listen. No, they will say, I remember meeting some of the officials here, I won't mention names, and they'll always tell me, don't celebrate here. Don't tell us how great this place is. Tell us what are the problems so that we can go out and solve. I'm not joking. If you know me, you will know I just don't throw words like that. If I'm complaining, I will complain in public. This place is a place of action. They actually do it. So the issue of talent, that we said we needed talent to come and stay. We need stickiness. And so they went out and found what stickiness means. We want talent that works in a company not to leave this city when they leave their job. Right? We want a community. We want people to think that this city is their home. And are we just look outside of this window and see what it means that you have a stickiness in a city. And that's the beauty of where we are.
Maybe just an add-on. I think one of the first people I went to see when I decided I wanted to get into the investing side and essentially start Beco was actually Fadi, who I didn't know, but he graciously gave me time and a lot of great wisdom at the time and continued to be that.
I don't know if you're happy.
No, I'm very happy. No, I guess what I'm trying to say is you at the time were already very well known, very successful, and having you go out there and beat the drum was very helpful because, you know, we beating the drum is just not loud enough, right? So the loud voice that you have and the voice of reason and the voice that people listen to was super important, and the more of us that join that conversation, the better. There's always going to be something we're complaining about. We're always going to complain. In the old days, it was when we went out fundraising, investors would ask us, when am I going to get my dividends? I'm like, oh my God, we're talking about dividends in a business model that is not a yield play, it's a capital appreciation play. That's what we had to deal with back then. So now fast forward today.
You had to make an investment company before you made a fund because of that.
Yeah.
You know, something is successful is when people copy. And what happened in this place is it became contagious. And look at the rest of the region now. So, right, we're not going to get into the political side of it. The competition is lovely. We love that cities compete in the region because what does it do? It gets them to open up more. It gets them to do more, and we in the business of competing, because we build businesses and we know how to compete, we know how to attract clients, and now cities and countries understand how important it is to bring us in and get us to stick around. It's essential. It's the differentiation. Don't take us for granted. If we have a place that works well, we will go to it unless you are going to fix your place. So there's contagion. Contagion in this region.
Just on the subject of competition, because a lot of people talk about the competition, whether it's within the Emirates or within the GCC. It is very healthy. When Amazon was looking to announce its second HQ, they got the whole country to submit competing bids. Every state, I think almost every state in the US was fighting to get HQ2. I think they were at one point going to give it to New York, that new tech island, and they ended up going back to Seattle too. But that's very healthy competition, so we welcome
and by the way, there's a place for many, in the sense every one of these cities needs it. It's not just wanting it, it's actually needed. The younger population, you know, their growth ambitions, they can only be done by new blood and new ideas and new things coming there and thriving. So I think you're right, you know, we seeded that, and that's now become different trees all around.
And, go ahead, Dany. No, and one thing I keep saying, you know, thank God that there is a regional talent attractor so that we don't, and I'm going to be political here, so that our talent does not go west. We want our talent to stay here.
And the west to come here. And the west talent to come here.
This region is changing, it's moving, it's opening up. Our talented youth that are coming from different places within the neighborhood are coming to this region. It is so essential to keep them here. It's important for us.
Fadi, I'll tell you something of my personal experience. When I was working for one of the local initiatives, which has become pretty big, at that time, when we used to put up a presentation, our first slide used to be quality of life slide. We're not talking about, oh this, oh that, free zone, free tax, all that stuff. We were actually talking about...
They're cheering for you.
Huh?
They agree with the lifestyle.
No, it was a lifestyle thing. Like, you know, where can you have a great, secure, live on the beach lifestyle while it's a great place to build startups in, was a pitch which the world saw and used and believed in. So I think that has been a great thing. Yep.
So now we have the flow of money coming from institutions, endowments, pension funds, local money. We don't necessarily need to go outside, although I don't think it's a bad thing to also diversify sources of capital. But then what is before we talk about the future, what's the issue of the moment? It is growth and pre-IPO and IPOs, right? We went from 3 years ago, 0 tech companies public, which just, for me, it'd be the most painful thing to think about. Like, you wake up as someone from the region, you're born and bred in Dubai, as I was. We send people to the moon, we send probes to Mars, but we don't have a tech company on an exchange in the region. Now we have in Saudi, Jahiz and Rasan. On Tadawul, we have Talabat now, and Dubizzle on the way soon.
Dubizzle coming up. There's at least 5 coming up in Saudi. When I wanted to take the company public in 1997, that's a long time ago. The only place I could have done it with foreign investors as majority owners was none of the regional exchanges. So we went to NASDAQ 5 years
And came back.
We still came back, and we still had some restrictions. And so it's so beautiful now that we're not losing. We don't need to say, go to NASDAQ, go to London Stock Exchange, go to the Singapore Stock Exchange. Why? Why should we have our companies listed somewhere else? And let's have the sexiness of being listed on our own exchanges.
And also, you know, let me tell you, people talk about size of markets. Let me give you a very interesting data point. Talabat went public at a valuation of approximately $11.2 billion. Swiggy, their bigger rival India, went public 2 weeks before at $11.3 billion, just to give you an idea. So we have a great opportunity.
We are giving fair value to the companies when they're going public, because the system changed, because regulators listened and understood how important it is that for you to keep the companies that pop up from the region to stay in the region.
So I just want to pick up on the topic that you picked up, the challenge that you picked up in the beginning, and I think that's a very important elephant in the room, that us regional ecosystems need to talk more to each other and work along with each other so that this cross-border opportunity is substantially larger than we think. While we talk about $11.2 billion and 11.3, imagine if this was one IPO for the whole region, we would be talking about what Klarna is doing or something that kind of size. So let's talk about that. How do you think we can help that happen?
Dany.
So I'm going to give you a very, very contrarian view. I, about 5-6 years ago, was beating the same drum, trying to go to all the regional governments and say, guys, let's combine economies. Let's passport the trade license from Dubai to passport across to Saudi, to passport to Egypt. Let's unify exchanges so we have one stock, maybe 2 exchanges. We don't need, 4 or 5, certainly not 3 major stock exchanges. The fewer exchanges you have, the deeper the exchange, the greater the liquidity, and so on and so forth. And I realized that it just fell on deaf ears for reasons that are way above my pay grade. So I'll hand this one to Fadi. The nice thing about founders is they just find a hack, like this cross-border thing I know is important to you, especially with your Aramex and Souk and Amazon experience. But I mean, they'll find a hack around it. I don't think it's such a big...
My issue there is, I will never use it as an excuse. It's just delays scaling a little bit. Everybody finds a hack. I found it years and years ago. There are hacks, you can do it. And I think eventually regulators will find a way, specifically for the passporting process. It's so essential, especially for fintech companies. If you're here, you want to be able, Europe, look at Europe, so fragmented, and still, after all these years of creating this passporting system, they still have these challenges. Anyway, so let's say, alhamdulillah, we can't complain. There are things that need to be fixed, and that's life in the entrepreneurship world.
It's just a harder problem among the hard problems we have solved before. So I took it from that point of view, it will get solved. I think the opportunity size of what it could be will be seen by people higher above, as we're talking about. And as any other harder problem, it starts with people raising voice and being outnumbered in the beginning, and this happens. I think what could start with is stock markets and all are far off. Maybe we could look at other things opening up easier. Like, for example, e-commerce becoming more easier, crossing borders. We have seen, I am seeing at least this time, like direct-to-consumer new brands coming out from this region. UAE is doing very well in that, if you notice. Maybe they're able to go across far easier than traditional brands or history had been able to. I think that alone could make a difference. So smaller brands could actually cross over as much as bigger brands do. Today, an Amazon and Noon have far more power and clout to cross borders. And Fadi, I remember years ago talking to you, you said, I solved crossing the border. This is what used to be.
I did.
Yes.
Aramex, not to boast, Aramex existed in every single city in this region back from the 80s and 90s. So which means anybody that comes and complains, I will say it's doable. Right? It was very difficult, but the success of the company was because we were able to say we are in one big region. So one economy, technically, $2-3 trillion economies, and then an interconnectedness and access to talent. Yeah.
So it's funny the way we've solved it. Thank you for the optimism. Every time I hear it from you, I feel guilty for giving up on this particular point. So thank you. I'm gonna pick it up. But what we've done is we've changed our underwriting when we invest. We look at businesses that if they can become a whatever we underwrite, $1 to $3 billion outcome in the UAE alone or in Saudi alone, we're good. Now, of course, we'd love a $10 billion outcome, or we'd love even a $1 or $2 billion outcome, stitching the 15 countries together. And I think that's what you're solving for. I just think we maybe have taken a different approach because we feel it's very hard. And if it arrives, we'll change the underwriting criteria. For now, happy with single country outcomes that can do.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to do a shout out if you'll allow me. So we also opened an office in Palestine when nobody went to Palestine. And I'm going a shout out for you here, Palestinians. Hats off to you. Malish, they'll allow me to do that.
So, you know, Fadi, I want to ask a question on the future. What are the new things that you're seeing? So this is all we've done in the past. We're talking about e-commerce. All these are, I would say, done problems, done better every day. What are the new things that we are seeing coming here? Things which we are not known for, or this part was not known for, and is going to be a key feature of the future. AI,
I think,
obviously.
And Dany is deeper in the market than I am now, but I would say we are suddenly seeing deep tech happening in the region. I'm suddenly seeing serious deep tech engineers, people solving for deep tech. It's not an avalanche, but it's not been seen before here. Most of the solutions we had were mostly consumer-based solutions, meaning reflection of the economy. Startups come and change, you know, e-commerce, transportation, entertainment. But now we're seeing more stuff happening. And that's a result of AI popping up suddenly in our face, and the governments here wanting to become leaders globally in the AI space. So there is, you know, I'm seeing a bit of green shoots and new types of startups that require deeper knowledge of the technology. Am I overdoing
Fadi,
it, Dany?
On this point, I'd like to pick up before Dany. You know, one thing which we always talk about, the government here has been enabling, has been supportive. In the case of AI, it has been pioneering. We, as a UAE,
I mean,
we are in the top 3 countries of the world.
In this
Of the world. Where did you see this coming? Where did you see this coming? None of us saw this coming. But now that it has come, I think it's the biggest opportunity we are sitting on. All of us will be beneficiaries of that. Dany?
So I think 100%, but maybe just one step before AI. So before COVID, the governments, mainly of the UAE and Saudi, had already, I mean, Dubai was doing this for 25 years. We're digitizing the entire commercial infrastructure. And suddenly, COVID happened, and we had no choice but to test these systems. And in many cases, especially in Dubai's cases, they worked perfectly. You know, we were able to function as though, you know, as though we weren't in lockdown.
Even making sure we never left our houses because they would catch us.
Even asking for permission to leave the house, you had to do on your phone, which is brilliant, by the way. So, but payment, identity, e-fatura, taxes, all these things were digitized. Now, why is that amazing? Number one, it gets rid of the gray economy. Everything is black and white. Number two, it's taxable. Number three, it's transparent. And number four, the most important thing is you can underwrite. You have data. You know what risk looks like. And then when you underwrite, you can then borrow against that underwrite. And then you can fuel the economy and things. This is why when people pre-COVID, rightly so, looked at the region, we would have to stitch 15 countries together to make it look like a big region and say we have 500 million, 400 million people. We don't need to do that anymore because UAE and Saudi on their own, with this incredible digitization of everything, promissory notes, legal identity, everything, including payments, right? And local payment rails as well as other global payment rails. That is just, the TAM is 5x what we thought it was post-COVID. And actually when we start looking at TAM again, when they can think of Act 2 and Act 3, these companies, it's again 5 times the TAM, which is super exciting. So So that's just one thing. And I think I'll close with, before the AI bit, is the B2B aspect. We never touched B2B. We're like, no way. Someone will come from outside and just steamroll the country and the region and just add their B2B. It won't be perfect. It won't be localized. You won't have local know-how. You won't have human in the loop. But it's okay. It'll work. It's patchwork. The market is too small to just build B2B for the region. Well, you know what? Well, I think we're at that inflection point now where B2B companies, we're seeing a lot of it, by the way, and sort of enterprise software can build massive outcomes for the region. But here's what's really cool.
For the globe.
Is for the globe, which is where AI kicks in. And yeah, click. No, so the last thing is what's beautiful about AI, and we're seeing this slowly in the existing portfolio, because the old legacy, even though they're 3 months old, founders who were building with like non-AI native in mind are thinking, now if I built this company again from scratch, what would the company look like? And you know what? They'd have a lot less people. The new badge of honor in startup land is not, I have 5,000 people and I've raised $500 million and so I'm worth $5 billion. It's, we're 10 guys in a room, we're doing $200 million of ARR, we're doing 90% margins, and we don't need money, but you know what? We're gonna take a couple of hundred just to beef up the war chest, and we're gonna raise it $3 billion, like Amjad Mas'ad, wonderful Jordanian guy of Replit is one example. So small is the new badge of honor, and capital efficiency.
As we say in India, more sweets to your mouth. May you be successful. What you just said, more sweet to your mouth. Aapke muh mein ghee shakkar. So this is how it is. So on this positive note, we've been told to say 0000, so we need to leave. And people like us can keep talking till the cows come home anyway. So I would say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.